Oh, good jumper. Rely on my knowledge of where I think the fish are going to be. I'm at Ghost Streams. And boom, looks just like the first way I did. Oh, see, Dakota wants me to fish over here. There we go. I'm at Ghost Streams. Oh, take it easy, take it easy. Don't get excited. There you go. There you go. Resistance is futile, little dude. There we go. Whoop. A little bit of quality. Yeah, much nicer fish here. Ooh, good looking fish. Chunky bro. Ooh, jumper. All right, ladies and gents, want to take a quick break from the action to show you what I'm doing out there. I'll start with my rod and reel that I'm using out there. This is a 7'6" ultralight spinning rod. It's a Katana, a hybrid of many custom rods, and the company eventually decided on this model. It's a moderate fast action, which means fast is usually a very stiff tip on the rod, and a moderate is a very whippy tip. So this one is kind of best of both worlds. It has a stiff backbone, and the tip is soft, so it has a little bit of bounce to it, so it makes it really good for throwing mini jigs and very light baits and doing presentations on them. For a reel, I have it paired with a 1000 series reel. This is a Shimano Vanquish 1000. And for line, I use Sinister Strand premium fiber braid in 4-pound, and I run that up to a fluorocarbon leader of Runkle Power Fluoro in 5-pound. And then I use a double uni knot. Now, if you want to throw mini jigs and you don't have a setup for it, I'll put a link right here to my How to Fish Mini Jigs video, and I go over all different kinds of alternatives, rods and reels setup. But the most important thing when you're throwing light baits is line. That's what's going to help you get a decent cast and get the bait out far enough to where you can work it back in and really try and fool these trout. Now, let's go to the bench, and I'll show you the jigs that I'm using out there and the weights and how I set them up. All right, guys, these are some of the baits that were working real good. I was fishing mini jigs out there, and in the morning, the one that was working well was this one. This is Ghost Shrimps, brand new one from Golden State Fishing. You can see it's obviously white, and it's got kind of a sheen to it. It's real shiny. Works real good in the morning, and that's why I always typically in the mornings when there's low light, I'll go to these really bright, usually whites kind of baits, and the fish seem to really like them. In the afternoon, the real hot one was this new one. This one's called Pink Smoke. So you see it's pink, and it's got kind of a goldish, whitish, shiny part to it. But they were all over this one, all through the opener at all the lakes. Really, really good new color. And they were just tearing this thing up. I think this is the last one I have because those fish tore up so many of my jigs. And then when they seemed to get tired of that, I went to this one. This is one of my favorites, Gold, Pearl, and Brown. You can see it's got some brown specks in it, and then a nice gold shiny side to the other one. And this is another real good natural looking color that works really, really well in the Sierras. Now for the weights that you put in these tube jigs, there's two types. There's or two sizes, I should say. A 16th, which is the bigger one, and a 32nd, which is the smaller one. Typically down here in Southern California, you're using a lot of the 32nd size weights in these tube jigs because the water's fairly shallow. Up in the Sierras, a lot of the lakes are very deep, so we typically use the 1/16th. Very rarely do I use a 32nd. Also, another reason we use the 16th, it gets windy up there. Being up in the mountains, there's lots of valleys, and the wind comes really cruising through there in the afternoons. And you can't throw one of these 32nds, it's just too light. So we'll go with the 16th and get the right sink and presentation. Now I'll show you how I rig these up. Real simple, there's two ways. First way is the way I usually do it, is I go through the skirt, and that's the part with all the little tentacles here. And I start with the eye of the hook, and I put it right in the middle of the tube, through the skirt, and I carefully slide the jig onto there without letting that eye rip the rubber of the jig. So I kind of lift it up so it doesn't, that eye doesn't tear the jig, and slide it on there till it's all the way at the top. And then I use my thumb and just push that eye through, and it looks just like that. Super simple. Now another way to do it is to run the hook through the top of the jig. Now you don't go through the middle or the very, very top. You go off to the side, basically where you want that eye to be sticking out of the jig. So I'll go on the side here at the top and carefully push the point of the hook through, and then I carefully run the jig around the hook without re-puncturing it until I can get that hook to stick out of the skirt like that. And then I carefully slide the rubber over the lead till the cap comes over, and pull it down, and boom, looks just like the first way I did it. Now this way is very important for you guys that tie directly on. You can remove and change your jig colors without retying, so you don't have to untie. So basically I can just imagine the lines on here. I can just pull this cap back lightly and expose that lead and slowly slide it off without damaging the jig. And then this, you can imagine, is still tied to the line, and then I can just do the reverse and put a new color on. So it's as simple as that. Okay, now that we've gone through all that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but after the first fish, my fish finder went dead. The electronics were out. Apparently I forgot to charge my battery for my kayak, so
wake up, idiot!
That's on me. But now I'm fishing blind. I can't see depths, temperature, any of those things, or the fish. So now what I have to do is rely on my knowledge of where I think the fish are going to be. And where is that? So first place I always like to check are intakes. Intakes have moving water, obviously. Trout love moving water. They're stream fish for the most part. So anywhere there's water coming into a lake, I'll go and fish it, because odds are there's going to be fish holding there. The second area would be an outtake, but outtakes, the structure has to be just right, and it's not very typical you'll find a bunch of trout hanging out in an outtake. So Next spot, drop-offs. Drop-offs are a huge thing up in the Eastern Sierra. A lot of the lakes are glacial. They have steep drop-offs, and the reason why the trout hang out on these drop-offs because they're predators, and they attack smaller fish and smaller aquatic creatures. So what they do is they'll hang out in the slightly deeper water of a drop-off and wait for these smaller fish that are hiding in the shallows to present themselves, and then they make a run at them, and the bait fish have a harder time getting away from them in the shallows. So that's what they do. Another place is a flat, a real shallow area. And there's several reasons for this. Trout need a perfect water temperature because even in the Sierras, they're cold water fish, but it can get too cold for them. So sometimes they'll seek out that perfect balance in temperature, and sometimes that's in a shallow area that gets more sunlight. Another reason is they may be up there because they themselves are hiding from predators like large brown trout, or if there's any bigger fish that are in there, will go after these smaller rainbows, especially the browns. So they're going to hide up there. So now I was driving around in the Yak, went to an area by the road that didn't have a lot of shore access because, like I said in the last video, if we can't get there on foot, lots of times the trout will stack right there because they know they won't be spooked by any humans, and they can kind of hide out there. But I didn't do very well over there. So then I decided to try out and find some shallow areas. And I found an area where I was just driving in the Yak, couldn't see any depths, and I looked down, all of a sudden I could see the bottom. So I'm like, okay, getting into a good shallow area, didn't see any fish swimming around, but then I noticed that there was a dark area, meaning a deeper area in the water that I could see, and then it went immediately shallow. So that tells me there's probably some kind of a drop-off, or at least a gradual decline into the water. So I parked my Yak in the shallow area just beyond, or just behind where the water got dark or dropped off, and started casting off into the darker water. And sure enough, I started getting bit right away because those fish were just hanging in a slightly shallower area, but it was a little bit deeper, where they could either A, they were there for the temperature, or B, or both, they were there to feed and ambush prey, which since I was getting bites, they were probably feeding. So it's as simple as that. It's just a matter of knowing where trout are likely to be and going and trying those spots, and then using your jig or your spoon or whatever you're throwing, or even your bait and weight presentation. When you cast out, see how long it takes to hit the bottom, and then you kind of start to get an idea of how deep it is. If you cast out, especially in several different directions, you'll start to know where it's shallow, where there might be a high point, a low point, and all those things. And it's really just as simple as that. So all you got to do is go out there and remember some of these things, where they're going to be, and then just fish those spots. If you come up with nothing, go on to the next spot you'll think they'll be at, make a few casts and see what happens. And that's literally all I was doing.
Switch it to that gold, pearl, and brown. First cast. There we go.
All right, ladies and gents, there you have it. Great day on Silver. That's one of my favorite lakes just for the views. I mean, it is gorgeous up there, and the fishing ain't bad either. But I did struggle in the morning, and eventually I was able to find them, and I caught a bucket of fish. I mean, just a ton of fish in the short time I was there. This was the last day of our trip, so I was heading out. I think I left probably about 10 or 11 in the morning. I just fished for a few hours and just got into a really, really good bite once I found them. So that's the biggest key, biggest takeaway is know where the fish are likely going to be, and then just fish those spots. Move around. You don't have to have a boat or a kayak to do that. You can do it from shore, and we've done it for many years on the shore, looking for intakes, outtakes, drop-offs, flat areas, and walking to those areas and fishing them and just seeing. And sometimes they're there, sometimes they're not, so we move on, you know, and that's really all there is to it. The other thing you noticed at the end of the video was I changed jig colors. I caught a bunch of fish on pink smoke. They really liked that one, and then they seemed to get used to it and got wise to it. So I went to gold, pearl, and brown. Very first cast, trout were still sitting there. They smashed it, and I caught a few more. They just weren't on camera. It's just the little things like that that will get you on the fish. Being willing to move, reading water conditions, structure, and changing colors and changing presentations. As long as you do those things, just the fundamentals, it really improves the chances of you having a real successful day on the water. And with that, if you want any of the fine products that I use on this show, there is a QR code right up here. Any of the Golden State Fishing custom baits, the TRUDAVE waders or boots, the high sea waders or boots, the katana rods, any of those things. Click on this QR code. It'll take you to a link tree, which has all of them listed, including the hyperlinks and the discount codes and how to use them. So go take a look at them. Really great products, and you save yourself a little money if you buy something. And I wouldn't use that stuff if it wasn't good. So definitely go check them out. It's really good stuff. So always remember to like, share, and subscribe. Really helps the channel out and helps me know that I'm on the right track. If you ever have questions or comments, please leave them here. I do like answering them. I love talking fishing. But just, you know, sometimes with the family and everything, I won't get back to you right then, but I will get back to you, I promise. I do get back to you guys with your questions, or if you want any links to any of the stuff you see in the video, I will get those to you. And coming up, I got a Utah video. I've got a how to put braid on the reel video coming very soon. Much more short how-to videos, and oh good lord, I got so much stuff coming. And then the rest of the season of the Sierras, I'm actually thinking of doing another pyramid trip in the yak. I got a yak video coming out, so stay tuned. A lot more content coming your way. You're going to be inundated with stuff. So hope to see you guys out there, and tight lines.